Andreas starts off this hour in Tallahassee, Florida. Hey, Andreas, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, Dave?
Better than I deserve. What's up in your world?
All right, so 20 years old, and I'm graduating college in about a year. I'm going to graduate with no debt, which is pretty awesome.
Good for you. How'd you do that?
Well, I've been working jobs here and there, and also I'm fortunate that my parents have helped me.
Very good.
So it's not ending there because I'm planning on going to medical school in the near future, and that's going to be probably $200,000 to $300,000.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what can I do today to minimize the effect on my financial future?
It's a really good question. Well, what you did, whether you did it on purpose or said it out loud or not, to get where you are was you said, okay, here's what school costs, the particular school that you are in. What are you, at Florida, or where are you?
Yeah, Florida.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Florida, and here's what Florida costs, and here's what the books cost, and here's how much money mom and dad can put in, and here's how much I can work. And you said, okay, here's a target, and it's a target that I can hit, and here's the steps it takes to hit that target, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you did. I don't know how intentional or how out loud, or whether you had spreadsheets or whether you just did it in your head or how you did it. But at the end of the day, in order to accomplish graduating from the University of Florida 100% debt-free, that is not an accidental act. You did intentional steps. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do the same thing with med school. Number one, med school is unbelievably, there is an unbelievably wide spectrum of cost based on where you go. So
Right.
$300,000 one place, maybe $150,000 another place. Where you live on campus, where you live off campus. What city are you in? How expensive is that city? A lot of variables that go into the cost here, and it's not like there's only one price for med school and it's always $300,000. That is not true. Follow me? Just like there's more than one price for a 4-year degree when you live in the state of Florida. You chose the University of Florida, and fine choice. But you could have chosen to go to Vanderbilt here in Nashville and paid 8 times more than you paid for the same 4-year degree, by the way.
Correct.
Okay? You didn't do that. So that's my point. We're going to choose something that's more affordable since we're broke. Because I got to tell you, I've gone to a lot of doctors, and I never once asked where they went to school. I just said, can you fix this? Right?
Yeah.
And that's all I want to know. Can you fix this? And they go, well, I can't, but I know a guy that went to so-and-so, and he went to this school, and he can fix it. Okay, good. Well, let's go over there. But I don't start the conversation with doctors and lawyers on where you went to school. And I've hired a bunch of them over the years. I'm old. I've had both lawyers and doctors in my life. God help me. But so that's the thing, right? So the point is there's very little value on where you go to school unless you're going into a very specialized type of medicine, or you're going into some kind of research, or you're going into something where the prestige crap matters. What really matters is, can you learn to fix humans and be a doc? And that's the thing. So I'm going to go shopping if I'm you, and I'm going to become an expert on every med school in the U.S. and what they cost. And then I'm going to target in on the bottom 5 or 10% of those and do that. That's thing one. Thing two is I'm going to investigate the medical industry, the hospital corporations that are out there that desperately want young docs, and try to find out what programs they have got where they're willing to pay for you to become a doc. Oh, but you promise to work there for a few years for them after you get out. That'll do it. Number two, military has the same exact program. They'll pay for you to be a doc, and then you work for the military for a few years after you get out. And it's a very set, specific program. You know what you're signing up for, and it's way the crap cheaper than $350,000 in student loan debt. Okay? Number four, there's a thing called an MD PhD program. Very hard to get into, but if your grades are great and you're an excellent citizen, you stand a chance. People do actually get in them. I talked to a guy last week in the MD PhD program. What this is you actually go to work for the university teaching classes at the university while you're in med school. As an employee of the university, a very special employee of the university, you go to med school free. Now, that's the sweetest deal I gave you on the list, but very hard to get into. There's not a whole bunch of those out there. There's not a whole bunch of candidates that are accepted. But, dude, if you can land one of those, that's the gold standard right there on med school for free. And it will change your career if you can go to med school debt-free, because you'll make different choices about the type of medicine you study. You'll make different choices on who you go to work for. You'll make different choices on the crap you have to put up with off these companies in order to eat and pay your bills. And I don't want you all tied up in that stuff. I think you're too smart. So, point being, is it easy to go to med school debt-free? Absolutely not. It's not easy to go to University of Florida debt-free, but you did it. All your friends are lazing around the dorm getting a degree in beer pong, and they got $45,000 in student loan debt. And they're just happy to be a Gator. You know, I mean, that's it. Come on. Seriously. This is the problem, isn't it? But all you did was you got focused and intentional, and you turned it around. And you said, I'm going to be different. And I want you to do the exact same paradigm, the exact same mindset for this. Hold on. I'll have Kelly pick up. I'm going to give you a copy of Anthony O'Neill's book, Debt-Free Degree. It's really designed for undergraduates coming out, or high school graduates coming out, going into undergrad, teaching people to do what you just did. But there's also some good thoughts and some good promises in there, things to follow through on, like I just gave you, on how to do even grad school work debt-free without getting all tied up in it. So, hey, thank you for calling in, brother. Guys, the student loan problem is not an education problem. It's not an education problem. No one can afford to get an education in America today. Just not true. That's not a true statement. You can go to an in-state school, live in your parents' house, eat your mama's food, come home at lunch and have a bologna sandwich, go back to class, and pay in-state tuition and work a job, and you can work your way through just like he did with a little help from mom and dad, and you can get an undergraduate degree in America today with zero student loan debt. But the first thing that has to happen is you have to stop assuming that student loan debt is the only way to get a degree. So get up off your assumes and go do something about this. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.